Now we have a proclamation for National Public Safety Telecommunications Week, and Councilmember Conley wanted to do this tonight, so.
Thank you. In recognition of National Public Safety Telecommunications Week, April 14th through the 20th, 2024. Whereas emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, or emergency medical services, and public safety dispatchers are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services. And whereas public safety dispatchers are the single vital link for our police officers and firefighters by monitoring their activities by radio, providing their information, and ensuring their safety. And whereas the safety of our police officers and firefighters is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone the Fortuna Police Department Communications Center. And whereas the city of Fortuna is served by a group of men and women working as public safety dispatchers for law enforcement, fire, rescue, and medical emergency response agencies in this community. And whereas these dedicated individuals work tirelessly to answer our citizens' calls for help and dispatch the first responders to the scene of those emergencies. And whereas these public safety dispatchers have demonstrated loyalty, commitment, and dedication in the performance of their duties. And now therefore be resolved that public safety dispatchers working in the city of Fortuna are a valuable asset to our community at large. These professionals who toil and with little recognition 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to save lives and provide assistance to unsung heroes. Be it further resolved, it is for these reasons that the City Council of City of Fortuna wishes to honor them and proclaim April 14th through the 20th, 2024 as National Public Safety Telecommunications Week in the City of Fortuna. The City Council and the City of Fortuna appreciates their commitment and dedication to their profession and congratulates them on a job well done. Signed this first day of April 2024 at the City of Fortuna in the state of California and in witness thereof the seal of Fortuna by the mayor. And accepting is Jade Campbell, one of our dispatchers.
Hello, Council. I am Sergeant Jason Cadle. I am the communication supervisor, and every now and then I pretend that I can do what they do and quickly find out that they are a special group of ladies. Our communication center not only dispatches for the Fortuna Police Department, but they also dispatch for the Rio Dale Police Department, Ferndale Police Department, and the Fortuna Volunteer Fire Department. And all this while being a single dispatcher on 24/7. I am here tonight to say a few words about the excellent public safety dispatchers that work in the communication center here at the Fortuna Police Department. To Tanya Cadle, Paige White, Jade Campbell, and Jenica Samp. In the chaos and uncertainty of emergencies, they are the calm voice guiding us to safety. Their unwavering dedication to keeping our community safe does not go unnoticed. Every call they answer, every detail they manage, and every decision they make plays a pivotal role in ensuring our well-being. Their professionalism, compassion, quick thinking are the pillars of our emergency response system. They are the first line of defense, the silent heroes who work tirelessly behind the scenes and often without recognition. This week, I want to express my deepest gratitude for their service. Thank you for being the reassuring voice on the other end of the line, for their tireless commitment to helping others and their unwavering courage in the face of adversity. Their selfless actions make a profound difference in our lives, and for that I'm endlessly thankful. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we have oral comments from the public. Anybody in the public who would like to state any or say anything that's not on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent calendar. We have 3 items on the consent calendar: City Council minutes, report of disbursements, and approve allocation of 1 seasonal part-time maintenance worker, 1 position. Any council want to pull any of it? No. Motion?
I'll move to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to city business. Authorization to award a construction contract for the CBDG barrier removal project, CPI 9977, to, is it Rayo? Is that how you say it? Construction, and establish a maximum contract amount of $427,716. Staff report, please.
Good evening. Back in 2021, early in the year, staff began working on a grant application for a community development block grant with the Department of Housing and Community Development. It was later that year in August when staff began working with GHD Engineering, developing the CBDG barrier removal project, which is partially a result of the county's accessibility audit in 2018, and this project will address many of those locations that were identified. Let's see, next slide, please. Wow, that's little. Let's see, go ahead and go on to the next slide. This project is located, most of the places are located pretty much right around us. It's hard, I'm not sure if you guys can see, but I have City Hall identified, and it's basically focused on 4 main areas. N Street is the main one. Next slide. So these are areas between 11th and 12th on N that, and the project features driveways, sidewalks, corners, ramps, depending, just things that have been identified as accessibility issues.
Matt, can I add one thing?
Huh?
Can I add one thing?
Yeah.
So when the county did their accessibility audit for all of their county facilities, one of the things that they did is they handed us a list of all the projects for the deficiencies for the county, the city facilities that the county was involved with. And one of them is a library. So because the connection from the bus stop to the library had a number of sidewalks that needed upgrades and didn't meet current accessibility standards, that really got put on us. The burden got put on the city because it's our facility to upgrade the portion. That's why we were looking at that portion of N Street.
Yeah.
Thanks, Matt.
The next slide will show areas on in between 12th and 13th. And then the slide after that shows locations on N Street from 13th to 14th and outside the library. One of the things is the ADA parking spot outside the library. That's going to be brought up to compliance. And then the next area is down by the Monday Club on 6th and Main. Those 3 corners on the crosswalk for Main Street there, it's kind of dangerous for when people are having activities at the Monday Club. So we're going to have bulb outs there to shorten the crosswalking distance on that. Next slide. Now these are along 12th Street near the Runner Creek crossing, and I think these have been like that since I was a kid, so it's high time to fix those. And the last location will be on what's David Street, which it's just a corner ramp. That's the smallest part of this project. Let's see, next slide, please. So GHD has completed a set of plans for us. They're very well done. And as part of this, we'll be asking for the city's approval of those plans. Next slide, please. So the bid package was advertised on February 22nd. The bid period ended on March 15th when 3 bids were provided, and RAO Construction had the apparent low bid for $390,246. In reviewing the bid package, it was found that they were fully responsive and their subcontractors and themselves all had active licenses and registrations. So one thing that's worth mentioning is RAO has done several projects over the past few years for the city, from the Walker Elementary Safe Route to Schools, the Runnerville Road STIP project, some of the Jameson Creek barrier removal, and last year's 12th Street integrated stormwater project was done by them. So they clearly can do the work. If the project is awarded, staff anticipates being under contract by mid-April and mobilization at the end of April, early May. Let's see, financial impact on this. It is grant funded. We have a remaining budget of $427,716. The bid amount is $390,246, which leaves $37,470, which is a reasonable contingency for the project. So the staff recommendation is that council approves the project plans and authorizes the city manager to award the CBDG barrier removal project to REO Construction and establish a maximum contract amount of $427,716.
Thank you. Council have any questions?
I do. When do you anticipate the project will be completed, just knowing that downtown will be very busy come July, and that could be a very impacted area if it's
They've
not?
got 50 working days.
Okay. I worry about that time of the year and having streets right in the middle of town that are making parking even worse and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
I would hope by the end of June.
Okay, any other questions?
Just a comment. I'm really glad to see the project includes that intersection in front of the Monday Club. It gets a lot of use, and it's been a long time needed.
Okay, we'll open public comment. Anybody have, anyone have a comment?
Yeah, thank you, Brendan Bird, Public Works Director. I just wanted to thank Matt for presenting the staff report and also provide an extra little piece of context here in the purpose of the project. And the city manager jumped in and talked about the ADA audit between the bus stop and the library. Matt spoke about some of those areas where we don't have sidewalks and we're infilling those. But just so everybody's fully aware, ADA guidelines and design standards very much drive, city compliance with infrastructure, especially in today's world and moving forward even more. So you'll see projects like this where we're going out, we're tearing out concrete and we're replacing with new concrete, maybe even in some areas where it doesn't look terrible. The reasoning behind that is, we look at ADA things like cross slopes, widths, clearances around areas. So there's a lot of other compliance mechanisms that we're looking at with these types of projects. The CDBG fund that we are using this is, as Matt had mentioned, it's a program income. It's a grant-related fund that we use to do these. But just, again, wanted to provide that additional level of detail for folks that maybe don't understand why we do these types of projects or why they're important. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And just a little bit more for our council. Program income, that's money that we receive from past CDBG projects that we've done. And so the city has a pretty high level. So we were getting a lot of pressure from CDBG Community Development Block Grant. The staff for Housing and Community Development that administers that fund, they impressed the city that it's very important to spend that money or they were going to look at taking it back. And so we wanted to make sure we put that money to good use in the city. So we have this project that we use a big piece of it, and then another project that we're looking at on Runnerville Road that Matt and Brendan are working on that we'll seek to use the rest of that before the state wants it back from us.
Thank you. Any other comments? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Back to the council.
I'll make a motion to approve the project plans and authorize the city manager to award the CDBG barrier removal project to RAO Construction and establish a maximum contract amount of $427,716.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is this a roll call or voice vote?
Please.
Voice.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Next one is authorization to award the contract for the wastewater treatment plant Proclamation Pond Rehabilitation Project 2024. Staff report, please.
Yeah. This is an annual project, a rehabilitation project that is really essential to the function of the wastewater treatment plant. During the dry season from May 15th till September 30th, we cannot discharge to surface water. So we use these percolation ponds to put the discharge in and it infiltrates into the ground through the bottom. Each year, what we do is we take and remove the material that we put in from the year before, prep the bottom again, and rehabilitate it, and then put new drain rock in for the dry season this year. And it's something that is definitely important and has to be done. The bids were open for the project on the 15th of March as well. There were two bids. When construction had the apparent low bid at $110,115. and they proved to be, oops. Yeah, the bid was responsive and responsible. And the one thing, the city budgeted $115,000 for this project this year. We've used $1,000 on advertising, so that leaves the budget amount at $114,000. That doesn't leave much of a contingency. It's about $4,000, but staff feels that this is a pretty well understood, straightforward project, and a big contingency isn't really needed. Typically, it's performed within the contract amount, and as far as I know, it always has. So with that said, staff recommends that council authorizes the city manager to enter into a contract with Wynn Construction in the amount of $110,115, establish contingency funds, as mentioned before, with a total contract not to exceed $114,000.
Thank you. Back to, any questions from staff? Okay, open public comment. Anybody in the audience have a comment on this item? Seeing none, we'll close public comment.
I make a motion to award the contract to Wendt Construction for $110,115, establishing a maximum amount of $114,000, and authorize the city manager to execute the contract and other related documents.
Please.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Our next item is revised Measure E Committee Bylaws, Meeting Date Schedules, Resolution 2024-07. Staff report, please.
Yes, good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. So on March 20th, 2017, the council originally adopted a resolution that outlined the duties and responsibilities of our Measure E Committee. And at the last Measure E meeting on March 19th, 2024, the committee discussed and recommended staff make the following changes to the regular meeting dates, and that was to eliminate the regular meeting scheduled for the third Tuesday in December every year. The city has canceled this meeting the last 2 years, primarily due to the difficulty in getting a quorum with the proximity to Christmas. Additionally, with the Measure E Committee having a regular meeting scheduled in January, it is feasible for the city to combine the information and material from the December meeting into the January meeting, making the December meeting unnecessary. And so it's staff's recommendation that the City Council adopt Resolution 2024-07, establishing the duties, responsibilities, and terms of the Measure E Committee, including the amended meeting schedule. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Any questions from council? Okay, we'll open public comment. Any comments from the public? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Back to council.
I'll move to adopt Resolution 2024-07, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Fortuna establishing the duties, responsibilities, terms of Measure E to Independent Community Oversight Committee, including an amended meeting schedule.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. And our last item of business is amend the city's annual fee schedule for fiscal year 2023-24 to provide for amended fees in the Park and Recreation and River Lodge Departments. Resolution 2024-08. Staff report, please.
Good evening, council members. I'm happy to be here to provide the staff report this evening. The staff report is coming to you now to suggest amending the fee schedule because it's mostly related to our summer camp programs, which straddle 2 fiscal years. So summer camps begin in June. Our hope is to start registering in early May, and they continue on through August. So in order to have a cohesive summer, these changes are coming to you at this time. I'll just outline a few of them. They are in the staff report. This recommendation is introducing 2 new programs this summer. One would be a specialty camp, which would be a half-day camp which would be smaller numbers and a more structured and theme-based for individuals for whom that would be interesting and needed for. And a leader in training program. This is something I do believe the City of Fortuna has had in the past, so it's really bringing back a leader in training program for teens who have aged out of the summer camp program and now can come and get leadership and work experience in the program. And then there's a recommendation to change the fee for kiddie camp and summer fun, so it's one unified fee for full-day camps, as well as a recommendation to add a small non-resident rate to honor the fact that Fortuna residents do support recreation programs in their property taxes, as well as Measure E. And the final item involves use of the Monday Club for our playgroup program, and I'm going to let Aaron speak to that because there's a more institutional perspective in terms of budget as to what makes this request necessary.
Yeah, so the request to create a charge for the playgroup to use the Monday Club is one, it's an accounting best practice to ensure that the River Lodge and Monday Club are capturing any revenues that are coming through their facilities from use, and so this would be a way for them to capture those uses. Essentially, it's going to wash out since the River Lodge is supported by the general fund each year, but we just want to make sure that the River Lodge has attributed the revenue appropriately. And then the second piece to that is there's the potential, if the playgroup continues to grow, that the First Five grant could potentially at some point cover a portion of that cost to the city. So that covers the changes to the River Lodge and Monday Club.
Thank you, Aaron. I'd be happy to entertain any questions.
Thank you. Does council have any questions? I have one question.
Sure.
The leader in training program, why is there a charge to have somebody come and volunteer?
Yeah, that's a good question. I looked at the model in other cities that are in our local community, and it is a practice to have a small fee. Part of that is because we will be providing youth that leadership and mentoring and work experience, so there's a value to it, and it's as well as a buy-in from families. We want to make sure that the teens who are signing up really want to be there and are dedicated to performing as a leader in training.
Thank you. Okay. I guess that's it.
And I think we do have public comment here to
Yes.
this evening.
Mhm. Anybody from the public like to speak on this item?
Hi, I'm Denise Carpenter. I'm a resident of Fortuna here, and I have kids also. I would like to encourage the city of Fortuna to start the Leader in Training program at the Fortuna Parks and Rec. We have a 13-year-old who, if this program isn't here, he might be stuck at home unsupervised in front of a screen all day because there really isn't anything else for him to do here in Fortuna. I have looked up the Leader in Training program in Eureka. Some of the things that caught my attention was the youth will gain valuable work experience and they'll get community service hours. The youth will gain training in skills and communication, conflict resolution, team building, program planning, behavior guidance, responsibility, teamwork, time management, and overall leadership. This is all descriptions of that the City of Eureka website. And I think that would be really good for some of our youth here in Fortuna.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other comments? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Back to council.
Just a comment, good job on putting this together. I think it's been a long time coming. I think we've needed to increase these fees for some period of time, so great job, Heather.
Thank you.
I also want to say thank you for bringing back the leader in training. I had a very disappointed teen last year that didn't get to do it, that wanted to do it because he aged out of the program. So I appreciate it also.
Maybe this is the year.
He's going to come back, I guarantee it.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I make a motion to adopt Resolution 2024-08, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Fortuna amending the city's annual fee schedule for fiscal year 2023-24 to provide for amended fees in the Parks and Recreation and River Lodge departments.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Our next item is city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor Trent. Just an update on the calendar for upcoming meetings. There are a few. Our next regular city council meeting will be April 15th. We don't anticipate needing any special meetings between now and then. That'll be at the customary time of 6:00 p.m. Our next planning commission meeting will be on April 9th. Our next Measure E committee meeting is April 2nd, which is tomorrow, and we'll be going over the recommendations from the city manager to the Measure E committee on what the funding should be. You might have got a sneak peek in that in our finance director's presentation at our workshop earlier this evening.
What time is that meeting?
And that meeting is at 5:30.
Is that here?
That is here.
Okay.
The next Roner Community Recreation and Park District meeting date is this Wednesday, April 3rd at 2:30. And it's going to be a really interesting meeting where we're going to be able to present a recommendation for hiring a consultant for the services to update the feasibility study and go all the way through design and construction. So, and also just some of the changes to the approach that the rec district is taking and some of the updates on the partnership they have with the McLean Foundation, the ERV Foundation. So that meeting will be tomorrow at 2:30 here at City Hall. And then our next Fortuna Business Improvement District meeting is April 23rd, and that's at 8:30 a.m. So just a few things to report. One of them is I received notification today that we closed escrow on the lot at 624 Main, which is adjacent to the Monday Club. And we are very much looking forward to thinking about how that lot can provide additional opportunities to the city to enhance what it offers at the Monday Club, a courtyard area, maybe parking, and better accessibility and visibility to the side of the building where the accessible entrance is. So it's going to be really nice to be able to look at that. We'll be putting a little bit more burden on our staff in the meantime to do a little maintenance. We'll probably grade it flat and make it so we can hit it with mowers instead of we did it by hand. Our Public Works Director is working through the punch list on the completion of the police facility. If you've been out there, you'll see that the landscaping is done. There's a lot of rock, and we're really going towards low maintenance, but also something that looked nice. But it is really coming together, and most of the work out there is done, I think, except for some of the fences and gates, and then a number of punch list items. So it takes a little while to get to the punch list, but one of the other exciting parts of that is working with our police department. We were hoping to get everybody over there quickly so we could move community development into the police department, but with Cal OES and AT&T and all of their consultants moving the dispatch system and the city's record management, it's quite a task. So we're looking at a phased move where we could take patrol, as soon as we get occupancy and we sign off on the building, we can move patrol division over there, and then ultimately we can move some of our administrative support staff and CSOs, and then lastly do dispatch once we finally get everything worked out with AT&T and Cal OES. I think we had a meeting with about 21 people, and 3/4 of those were AT&T and Cal OES. So it's quite a impressive bureaucracy to move your 911 services, to say the least. Let's see, one of the other things that it's kind of a big topic, and I've been thinking about how we can proceed with the Fortuna Business Improvement District. And so we talked about a number of different options of how we can improve and change the Business Improvement District, or, think about the events that we do. So we presented some ideas and had a discussion with the Business Improvement District at the last meeting. At the next meeting, we'll be going back with kind of a finite list to be able to run through. And ultimately, the goal is to come to the council in May and be able to talk about how we can change the Business Improvement District. And, there's a number of things on the table, everything from getting rid of it altogether to, maybe keeping some core areas and, some bylaw changes, like not meeting necessarily regularly. So we'll have a lot to think about as we move forward with the Business Improvement District. But Morgan Dodson, who served as the director for quite some time, she's going to be here to support that council meeting that we go to. But beyond that, she will be ending her employment with the city sometime around the end of April to pursue a different career. So that will be moving forward, and I think at a minimum in some type of scaled back, but that'll ultimately be up to the council. We received an administrative draft of the mill site specific plan, so that project is moving forward. It's pretty exciting to see the document in paper. We still are waiting for the environmental document, which will also be a really big piece. And I'll be presenting an update to the Headwaters Fund board on the 9th. So we're making some progress there, and it's exciting to see. So our goal is to be to the council this summer with an amendment of the city's general plan and zoning ordinance to incorporate the mill site in the new planning work for that location. And then just one update, the Planning Commission approved design review for a 105-person True Hotel, which is a spinoff from the Hilton Group for the Riverwalk area. I don't know if the council saw that, but it's a hotel that's on the River Ranch Loop near where Caltrans is building a materials lab, but it will have rooms that are facing the river, and so they are moving that project forward. They were quite excited to get that approval last week. And then the last one I have is I mentioned that the Roner Community Recreation and Park District, working closely with McLean, the RV Foundation, we really have the potential to make some progress on making a pool, a wellness facility, whatever you want to call it, but really to have, we're really thinking about it in the terms of how can we attract people from the community, not just have a pool where you have lap swimming and you have exercise and maybe swim lessons, but how can it really be an attraction for people and families and still be able to do things like competitive swimming and physical therapy, having really make it a destination and make, we need a lot of things to do in Fortuna. There's not a whole lot, but we're really trying to think about how, that pool can't be successful unless we really draw people in, splash pads, birthday parties, exercise for seniors, the fun element has to be there. And so we have a consultant that is being recommended for that project that has a lot of experience doing that. And so it's exciting to see this moving forward. Again, it wouldn't happen with McLean, and they are really pushing the schedule. They said, hey, we want to see something within the next 2 years being built. Otherwise, we can't guarantee, who's going to be here and how our foundations would vote on that. So a lot will be presented on Wednesday if you are interested. I think that concludes my report.
Thank you. Any future agenda items? We'll move to council reports. Councilmember Conley.
Thank you. REDAC didn't happen this last month. We didn't have a quorum, so nothing there. I do want to thank the Parks and Rec Department for busting your kind of hind ends out there, making sure everything gets knocked down and as best you can. I know that I saw a city worker out there weed whacking a whole baseball field just so we can get out there. But on the same comment of that, with what Aaron talked about in those fees, and my thoughts on that, I believe that Easter Sunday, there was a group of about 25 individuals that were volunteers that went out there with steamrollers, skid steers, hand rakes, packers, and completely worked on that baseball field. I believe that people in this community care about kids playing sports, and I think that is something that we definitely need to address as a council. How do we work together and make sure that those parks are the best that we can be for our kids? But thank you.
Quick comment, if I may, Mayor Trent, is one of the things that I should have reported on is I'm working with our Parks Director, and we're updating our field use MOUs, and so we're looking at those and really trying to make those, fair and consistent between all the users group, and then also recognize the work that goes in. So that is also something that's the top of our priority list that we're working on.
And if I just may take a moment on that, what a robust community we have. In working on the MOUs, it's just brings to my awareness more and more how many community partners we have and how much of our community is invested in our youth and invested in what we do. So yes, we're taking a look at the MOUs and hopefully we'll bring those back very soon. It's on the top of our list.
Thank you. Okay, Councilmember Losi.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and to go off of what Kyle was saying, this Saturday, Roner Park was filled with, I don't know how many, hundreds and hundreds of kids in the Easter egg hunt. And I'm sure everybody had a great time, but parking all the way out to Main Street. So a lot of people there. I had a regular meeting of the Local Agency Formation Commission, LAFCO, on March 20th. We approved contracts for the LAFCO executive officer as well as legal counsel, since both have been doing an excellent job. We held public hearings and approved the annexations of the Arcata Fire Protection District to the Goodwill Response areas of Upper Jacoby Creek and Lower Fickle Hill areas, and our fiscal year 24-25 budget and work plan for LAFCO. My term in LAFCO is expiring in this June. and I am not going to run for reelection on council. So I would really suggest that somebody on our council become interested in being a commissioner on LAFCO. I think it's really important for our city to be a part of that, considering we might be looking in the future at annexation up in the airport district or airport area. I think it would be well worth having somebody continue on that commission. On March 28th, I attended a Redwood Coast Energy Authority meeting for Chris. We approved a resolution authorizing the execution of an agreement with Sandrini Best Storage, which included a third amendment to the power purchase agreement with the solar park for energy storage. You might remember, well, maybe you won't remember, about 2 years ago, I started talking about the Sandrini when I was the council representative for Redwood Coast. Sandrini Solar is out in the desert, Southern California. It's this huge solar array. And why is everybody leaving while I'm talking? It's not that boring. Dinner, yeah. Anyway, so it's the storage now is in place, and that's coming to fruition, so that's good. We also approved an MOU between RCEA and the Blue Lake Rancheria Tribe, the Hoopaw Valley Tribe, Karuk Tribe, Yurok Tribe, and Cal Poly Humboldt-sponsored Programs Foundation with the Schatz Energy to engage in activities forwarding the coordination for the GRIP 2 funding application. It's a huge cost of $80 to $100 million. And what this is going to do is provide more stability for the power grid in those reservation areas. They probably have the worst time as far as power outages in Humboldt County in those reservation areas. So that will hopefully, when that's on board and up and running, will cut out a lot of the down power times that they've got. We approved an appointment of Eileen Verbeck to the interim executive position beginning April 1st because Matthew Marshall, who's a longtime director, is leaving. He's going to take a long needed rest. He's been doing an amazing job throughout his tenure, and he's brought RCEA from nearly bankrupt back in 2010. I was just coming on board the city council at that time, and the city of Fortuna, I believe it was through the redevelopment agency, loaned RCEA $10 million because they were short on funds. And since then, with Matthew leaving now, they have a reserve of over $30 million. So he's done an excellent job bringing that about. We authorized staff to solicit quotes from qualified executive search firms and ask for volunteers from commissioners to be on an ad hoc committee for the executive director recruitment. And Chris, not being in the meeting, was selected to be on that subcommittee. She did agree to do that after the fact. And she's happy to do that. In old business, we had a report about the Humboldt Sawmill Company Biomass Technical Advisory Group. And this was a meeting prior meeting from the Citizen Advisory Committee that Chris has talked about in the past. They went through hours and hours of testimony and comment about the biomass energy and the Humboldt sawmill. And we had probably 18 public comments, again, the majority of them against biomass energy. And for me personally, I don't see how RCEA can move away from the contract that we have that they have with Humboldt Sawmill. In addition, the contract that's in place, RCEA would be out almost $50 million a year because they would have to contract with another source to supply energy that's non-biomass. So I think it would add cost to the customers that currently go with RCEA as opposed to PG&E. In addition, those customers that are RCEA customers can still opt to RCEA's repower, which provides non-carbon and non-biomass energy. So it's clean energy if they want to do that. It's there for them. It was a reminder why I'm glad I'm not on RCEA anymore, the authority there. It was a long meeting. It's extremely technical, and I'm really glad Chris is on that authority now. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, now that Mike scared everybody away, Councilmember Mobley.
I just had the FBID meeting with Merit, so I am looking forward to changes that we are going to come up with there. And I do appreciate Mike volunteering me. They like that I'm very straightforward and stop them in their tracks when they're talking too much. I just don't do that here.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Johnson.
Well, my report's a lot more boring, I guess, but we did have a HCOG meeting, and there was some interesting things that come up in that. One was a presentation on perceptions of trail safety in Humboldt County. And overall, a lot of people like our trails. I mean, from here, right here in Fortuna, all the way up to the Hammond Trail and up that way. And they like them. There's some things that people do for maintenance that help out, like trimming the brush back, getting the tunnel effect out of the way. And one of the things that we found out a long time ago when the Dennis Went Trail got dedicated and River Life started organized walks on Fridays so that it was getting constant use over and over, and more people found it, got introduced to it, and then would use it during the week at different times. Once it was fully opened and in use, people that live up Palmer and that way started using it to get from their house into town to go shopping or school or work and going back home. So with more use and the more people that use a trail, the perception of safety goes up with that. So that was an interesting thing, and it was a value, and it was actually Supervisor Arroyo's master's thesis that was that she did and presented it to the board and the public at large. And much like we just had a restructuring of the Measure E committee bylaws and such, we had the same thing for the Social Services Technical Advisory Council, and changed the meeting requirements, and some people went off, some people went on, and we took care of that business, as well as a match, $25,000 funding for a match for County Public Works to do a project study report for Tishtang Road and Airport Road in Hoopa. And that was the highlight of my last 2 weeks. So thank you all for that, and that's my report. Oh, I did get to enjoy a wonderful report from our police chief, and not just on the FBI Academy, but the part beyond that, talking about crime in Fortuna, arrests, perception of crime in Fortuna, looking for future things and future goals. So if you don't, ask him to come to your organization if you are a member of one, and he can do a report, present a report on that and how Fortuna's doing law enforcement wise. And I am going to ask you to do a report June 11th. Thank you. That's my report.
Thank you. And I attended the Daffodil Show. I saw Sienna there also. I was actually pretty darn impressed at how many different daffodils there was. It was my first time there. It was so much fun, and I wanted to support them because they help keep our city all nice, and so I came home with new daffodils. And so anyway, that was my first time, and I'll be going every year. And I wanted to remind everybody, baseball season has started. There's kids running all over the park. Please drive slow and careful down there. And Sunday, the 10th, is the Vets Breakfast down at the River Lodge, and that helps support, or not River Lodge, the Vets Building, and that helps help pay for supporting the Vets Building and keeping that up. So that's all I have to report. And
Tell me what month
of what?
for the breakfast?
Next month, or this month, Sunday.
Sunday is not the 10th.
Yeah, April 10th is a Wednesday, so it's.
Oh, well, a week from this Sunday. A week from this Sunday, whatever that date is. I must have looked. 14th? Okay, 14th. A week from this Sunday. And they have very good breakfast. It's only $10, and you get biscuits and gravy, eggs any way you want them cooked, sausage, eggs. It's very good.
Pancakes.
Pancakes, yep. So we do have a closed session tonight, conference with labor negotiators, city manager Merritt Perry, employees, organizations, Fortuna Police Employees Association, Fortuna Employee Association, and the Unrepresented Management Group in ordinance with Section 54957.6 of the Government Code. So do we have a motion to move to city or closed session?
Make a motion, we adjourn to closed session.
Second.
Okay, motion and second, adjourn to closed session. Thank you all for coming.